much, Helen, and good afternoon from Jakarta times, and I believe most of you from morning time. So I'm so happy to be here. I would like to present our last improvement. This is what kind of the main things that we work for in Indonesia. I'm Agie. I'm work as the early warning head of early warning divisions, and I would like to present about the impact-based forecastings that the new paradigms and also the new approach that we brings up, not just only for us as the meteorological agency, but it's also as the main concept on the disaster risk reductions in Indonesia. So, of course, this concept we adopt from WMO from 1150 document, and also we learn a lot from UKMO and also NOAA, how we can deliver better early warning. So this is one thing that, if you may interest, I would like to show you how complex is it, the implementations of the early warning in development country. So this is the basics idea. If you may aware of Indonesia, may you also really know about Bali. So we are a country who really located in the maritime continent area. So this is one thing that mostly people in the naturally in Indonesia is mostly interact with the earthquake things because we are on the ring of fire locations. But then the other things between Asia and also Australia, we impact a lot with monsoon, and also we brings many impact with El Nino and also La Nina. So, for example, this one, Indonesia is get a lot of air mass from Asia who give a lot of impact with the heavy rainfall in Indonesia, and in other part it's also sometimes we also have a really strong dry periods. But then we also interact with the tropical cyclone in our area, and also so many interactions between two oceans, like with the IOD and also Southern Ocean oscillations. And then we have so many intertropical convergence zones, which is that's mean we have so many deep convections in Indonesia. So with these conditions, we cannot far from the fluctuations of the hydrometeorological things. As you can see here, that during the period of December to November, mostly we have to pick of the fall seasons, but it's also we facing the similar things with the issue of the dry periods. Like in June, July, August, we facing issue about the drought, forest fire, high wave, and during the transitions period, even many people say that we only have 2 seasons, but sometimes the accident of the deep convection is mostly in the transitions period, like March to May and also September to November. So with these conditions and with the big area in Indonesia that we need to cover, so the attentions of the changing of the weather is so complex. For example, one area like currently in December, we're starting to have heavy rains or rainy seasons, but the other area is start to have a dry period. So this is I would like to take example from case in 2017, but of course the last year is also similar data. So this is what happened in Indonesia. The statistics mentions that the accident of the hydrometeorological is more or quite often compared to the other hazard. So this is one thing that why weather information is quite important in our area. With the 95%, we really related and closely with the hydrometeorological things, and flooding effect, and also landslide occurrence is quite rising in the recent years. This is also because the increasing of the vulnerability area in Indonesia with the higher and higher populations. Okay, so this is one thing that I would like to bring similar things with. Sorry. similar with Typhoon Haiyan in Philippines. But I will give an example from in Indonesia case. In 2017, we have one detections of the tropical cyclones that impacted one area in Java Islands. It's called Tropical Cyclone Cempaka. You know, at that time, days before the accidents, my agency it's already knew that okay, there is a tropical storm and then grow to the cyclone, and then we will measure the impact will be give to a certain area. But then, unfortunately, the damage of the accident is still quite high, with the 41 dead and 20 and the others missing also. And we have two district area who really get much impact. For example, uh, more than 4,000 damaged house, and then also many bridges cut off, and also many facilities is also really much impacted. So this is one things that make us even more realize that actually the weather phenomena is quite possible to predict, but then there is no response or actions from the public. And also one things that the agency who really taking care about the disaster is also not really taken actions with that warning. So this is make us start to bring approach of the impact-based forecasting, that we see that this idea can change the services in Indonesia, and also can bring the new idea, not just only for the public, but it's also for us as a forecaster or as the meteorologist, not just only predict the weather phenomena, but it's also try to measure how far the impact, and we can start to repair our informations to public. And one more important is the disaster agency start also to know how important this kind of hazard. Again, I just fast on this topic that disaster preparedness always mentions in many documents and also many reference. One of it is on the SINA framework that we need to fulfill our seven global target, uh, reducing the mortality, the affected people, economic loss, and also the critical infrastructure. Because like today, Indonesia try to make the improvement in the infrastructures, but then we start to know that the weather is give much impact. And also the focus, of course, we need to increase the strategy of that disaster risk reductions, the awareness, and also the level of the access of the informations. And of course, how to make the ideal early warning system. Maybe I cannot say there is no one the best early warning system mechanism, because once we have a really good system, like we have a really good ensemble forecasting, for example, but then when it cannot be really implemented to the daily operation, is going to be pretty unuseful. So this is the situations in Indonesia before 2019, that we have two big agency, or the level is like a ministry. Meteorologist is a different agency with the disaster manager. So this is one things that maybe not like the other country who really on the same ministry. This is make the coordination is really hard, and makes even more complex, because the disaster agency that we call a BPBD and BNPB, the disaster managers, they also have the local office that under governor, which is another structure of organization. So this is make us even more have difficult situations, that there is no provisions for early actions on our product for early warning. And then the weather early warnings without including potential impacts, um, it just only mentions about the standard of the atmospheric. This is the situations before. And um, before we have this platform, we didn't really taking care about the probabilistic forecast. So we just use the suggestions from the forecaster. But it's glad since 2015 we start to moving using the NWP as our main data to make forecastings. And then before we not even care about spatial analysis at the time. And also, of course, the main point is the really minimum response of the warning itself. So the idea of the impact-based forecasting is quite easy. We're just moving from the what the weather will be into what the weather will do. This is quite easy and to see, but it's quite difficult to implement because not every single forecaster is quite confident to deliver the impact of forecasts in Indonesia, since the data of the vulnerability is also quite rare and also quite hard to get in on. But then this transformation we need to implement not just for headquarters, but we also try to implement through all regions with 34 provinces in Indonesia. So this is the paradigms that I start to deliver to Indonesian meteorologists, that we developed the 4 years programs with the several phases. So you can see that 2017, I start to build up what is actually the IBF concept, learning from the expert abroad, and also start to understand how actually the best disaster risk scenario to reductions. And then 2018, we design our impact and response metrics. 2019, develop simple interface that I can share with you later on, and also start to enlarge the stakeholder, which is the disaster manager as the one. So the phase is quite simple. On the beginning, we will try to collect data and also develop the hazard, response, and also risk metrics. And then the second part, we start to expand the stakeholder participations with good commitment between disaster manager and also the meteorologist. We can have a new impact metrics and also respond. With that two concept, so we can put the same table that how actually when we deliver early warning, we can start to respond, which is early response or after response. And then also we develop a new interface to make us closely between meteorologist and also disaster manager, and build up the SOP demonstration and also design the public awareness concept. The basic idea we adopt from UKMO that, of course, in the green one, it is the part of the meteorological agency, and then the purple one is the disaster manager agency. And then the goal, of course, we need to quantifying and reducing the impact, and we're glad that our disaster manager already the data of the vulnerability data. So we try to develop with our NWP, with the global data, and also our local aerial model to have automatic detections with the simple algorithm to quantify how far the impact would like to be. And then the communications also, we invite the media, the volunteer, public figure, and also university. So this is a really simple flow that we made at that time. BMKG is Meteorological Agency and BNPB is the disaster manager. We have met and designed risk and also response metrics in each phenomena, like heavy rainfall, thunderstorm, and then wind, strong wind, high wave, for example. And then we hear from them that they design how the disaster manager respond on each early warning that made by a meteorologist. And then also in the future, because currently the level is still national, in every province they start to make the implementations of that metrics. So the risk table is quite similar with level 1 to 10. This is the first time that in Indonesia we use the color code, because before we didn't really much use the level. So right now we have the green, yellow, purple, and also a red one. Oops, sorry. Okay, so this is how it's look like. So yeah, this is just the simple one. You can access through the signature.bmkg.go.id. This is the platform that finally I designed a simple website to communicate how actually the affected area, the impact, and also the one quite important is also what they need to be done when it's reached certain of level. So the level of impact is also on the sub-district affected. This is quite strong. And finally, the output of the early warning and also we share to the disaster manager office. So in the daily activity, they also see this kind of informations, and then they start to deliver the warning to their authority in province. This is really much improvement because before there is no such kind of direct involvement from early warning to disaster manager. And then not just only use the spatial basis like shapefile, JSON, and related to make the analysis on GIS platform. We also deliver standard format with the XML Common Alert Protocol. This is a platform or format that really standard that we can design for all media. And also I push to WMO platform with the SWIC. This is really easy also to share with the basis of API to the provider of like mobile apps and also media and many stakeholder. Okay, the last part of my presentations, I will also to show you, we not just only finish on the changing the paradigm and also changing the interface between the meteorologist and also disaster manager, but we also deliver related program with the public awareness programs. We deliver a climate field school, fishing field school, and also so many program with Indonesian Red Cross. And this is Mosaic. Mosaics mean Indonesian program to reduce or increase the public awareness. This is really simple because we just make a community of the voluntary in each province. Why we believe them? Because we believe that they can approach even more than us, who really people who really interest with the early warning informations. Okay, so the other things that since we change our way on the work because we have a different agency, as I mentioned before, then we're glad that we're moving on the next level. So finally now, in its like today we have a La Nina years, so that's mean we will get a bigger impact on the heavy rainfall. So we make the scenario of the flooding event. We make the tabletop exercise like in the right-hand side, and also we make the tactical floor game. Which is we make the plan how we can deliver the warning and who start to respond, and not just only following by disaster manager, but it's also the, another agency like police, military, and also transportations and rescue and many agency and ministry. So this is one more improvement that we start from IBF. So from my short presentations that with this implementations of IBF, for the first time, Indonesia is improving the communications between two institutions. Maybe it's quite simple, but with this complexity is quite a big improvement. And then with the easy interface, you can see that that's really efficient with the signature.bmkg.go.id and also with a couple of social media capabilities. And with this experience that I believe maybe not for development countries going to be really important experience that we really happy to share to another country, that actually when we won and also when we realized that how important to deliver early warning and response is going to be really good start for make the disaster risk reductions. The last thing is that the impact-based forecast is not never-ending job, and of course it's sustainable, but why? Because it's always evolving and also change day by day. Once we found a new technique like the probabilistic, we can implement, and maybe also how we communicate better communications to the new stakeholder. That's all from my presentations. Thank you very much for your kind attention to my presentations. Thank you.